So again, this was all lawn when I arrived 20 some odd years ago. So I put in 1, 2, 3 beds and slowly moving these to more natives. I was telling people earlier, this is a black oak and it is a prize. I was investigating whether I could do solar, and the solar developer came in and said, well, sure, but you have to cut down that oak. And I said, I think you're missing the point. You know, in terms of the carbon that I would save and the carbon that's locked up. Oaks, of course, are a keystone species. They support hundreds of insects that turn into caterpillars that support birds. So it's much more, hands down, ecologically, the winner of trees. So, you know, when I moved here, the first thing was, my God, I'm so fortunate to be on the Assabet. I want to turn the orientation of the house here. I don't want to, looking out on the street, it's fun and nice, but you know, why? So, you know, have very much changed my orientation to being out to the river. Now, we can look across and people, you know, will do a lot of clearing. Thankfully, with the Wetlands Protection Act, that's much harder to do than it was 50 years ago. But for those people who were here 50 years ago, that's what they would do, and they continue just to have lawns, which is ecologically just worthless. So I had almost the other challenge. The people who were here, because their orientation was out here, they could care less. They didn't care that they couldn't see the river. So this was filled with buckthorn, bittersweet, so there were a lot of invasives. And I got to work by hand, pulling buckthorn, and then with bittersweet, I will do a cut and dab on large, so that I had some large stem bittersweet, which was kind of handy, because that way I could do a little dab of an herbicide, and that really, I still have it, and now though I manage by hand. One of the nice things is I've given more real estate, is I've sort of taken the real estate that was occupied by the bittersweet and the buckthorn, other things have come in, and that's been exciting to see. You know, you can see several different species of goldenrod that are blooming. I'm happy for people to go down. The stairs are sturdy, there's no railing. So please use your best judgment. We'll go down halfway, and then there's a trail that takes us all the way down to the bottom. I used to build trails for the Forest Service when I was young, so I was like, yay, I get the chance to build a trail.
Did you plant these ferns, or did it just come?
And what's really interesting, so I'm an ecologist by training, and one of the challenges we have in New England is an overabundance of deer. And so the deer are stealing the future of our forests. They love an oak seedling. It's a real challenge. And in a natural woodland, sometimes an indicator of deer overbrowse is a monoculture of ascended fern. And what's been so fascinating is I get deer in here occasionally, but not in a big problematic way. I've been functioning as that deer because I've been removing the buckthorn and the bittersweet. And what has come in? A-scented fern. So I think that's kind of fun. So I have not planted anything down here. This has been me letting nature take its course, but removing invasives, and then I will selectively, because remember, beauty was one of my goals, so I will selectively cut certain things. Red maple is a nice tree, but ecologically very common, doesn't support a lot of stuff. So if a red maple is coming up, I'll cut that. But you'll see there's a lot of oak saplings in here, and so I'm letting at least some of them go, because someday, hopefully, nature will take this down, and hopefully in the right direction. So they fall downhill. Yeah. The white pines, you can see there was this was my clothesline tree. I didn't let them take the whole tree because I needed my clothesline. So that was a white pine that I had taken down because it was starting to be in trouble.
This is a Siamese twine. Siamese
yeah,
tree.
this one, you know, and very unusual. Another oak, it's got quite a lean, but I'm paying attention to it, making sure it's
Clothesline will hold it.
Yeah, right. But these white pines, especially when you get down, they're probably 80 to 100 feet tall.
And how high does it flood when it floods badly?
Not because we have the dam. So the dam, when I bought the house in 2002, you know, someone, the banker or someone looked at the map and said, oh, you're right next to a river. I said, look at the contours. I'm 30 feet up. If I have flooding here, we got to call NOAA. You know, it's like, so.
Yeah, look across the way. I mean, everything would be underwater.
Yeah,
for a long ways down.
It's the dock at the highest has been just underwater.
Mm-hmm. The red berry, is that viburnum?
There is there's winterberry. Yes.
Yep.
Correct. Good. Few of you want to come down?
Yep.
So we've got things, and these are all native. So this is gray dogwood, and you'll see there's a few places where I've marked for myself. So this is ash. I think it's green ash. Now ash really are struggling, but
Yeah,
so I want to make sure that I give this one a chance and I don't unintentionally cut it down.
Yeah.
Someone was talking about the winterberry. Here's one of the oaks I was talking about. Black cherry, common sort of, again, common understory. I have some, they'll get up into the canopy, but these pines are going nice and slow. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of my pattern. Hickory, again. This is a pignut hickory. I've marked it just to remind myself. It's in the winter. I do a lot of the work on the slope in the winter. I will come down, and what you saw, the ground cover here is
that stuff that
Virginia
goes up the
creeper.
tree, right?
Thank you. I had a moment.
Yeah.
I also get quite a bit of poison ivy, which is a native, but I'll come down and remove it any place where I think I'm going to run into it. So I'll come down covered like I'm ready for hazmat, and I will come. It's because it's easy to pull in the winter.
You pull it in the winter? What time of the winter?
You know, I'll find one of those like January, February, where this is south, and so it can be 50 degrees here. Nice. I'm not getting too hot, and the soil surface isn't frozen, and it runs along the surface. So I just come and pull.
But you're doing it when the leaves are still out.
No, I'm doing it when it's dormant.
How do you're doing it just by running your finger through the soil and picking out the...
You can eat, you know, with a lot of things you get like a gestalt, you get a signature to see what something looks like. So you can see where it sticks up, it has very much a look to it. So you find that, and then you pull it, and then you can just run it until...
Yeah, I've been pulling it now, but...
Yeah, I will, like I made sure that there was for today, I didn't want any poison ivy near the trail.
Yeah.
Anyone have any beeches in their yard?
Not for long.
No, not for long, right. So I discovered 2 years ago, I started to see the signs of beech leaf disease, which is a nematode, a microscopic nematode. And a nematode is like a little roundworm. And to give you a sense of how microscopic it is, there's 100,000 nematodes in this one leaf. I can't even get my head around that, you know? And I'm not hopeful about the future of beeches in our New England forests. But as a forest ecologist, when hemlock woolly adelgid first came on scene 25, 30 years ago, I was also telling people on tours, it's like, oh, I don't think we're going to have hemlocks in 15 years. We still have hemlocks, so I'm hoping to be proven wrong. And one of the things that's interesting, so they think that the nematodes came from Japan on probably some ornamental plants. Japan has beeches, but their beeches aren't dying from the nematodes. So the researchers, it's like, what's going on with their beeches that ours are struggling with? So hopefully that's the solution lies in answering that question.
Well, they're doing the same thing with chestnuts. They're going in and trying to identify the gene, and they were doing both
hybridizing.
Yeah.
Back
crossing to get a resistance, but they also were trying to use genetic modification and put a gene in from the Chinese chestnut to confer resistance.
You know, the chestnuts, there's nurseries where these crossbred chestnuts are.
We've planted some here in Maynard.
Yeah, and how are they doing?
Great, they're going.
Okay, awesome. Again, if you look up, you'll see the telltale signs. The leaves almost have a striped look to it. So, and it apparently takes 7 to 10 years for a tree to succumb. So, I think of it, I'm sad about it, but this birch is going to be psyched.
Is that a paper birch, Lisa?
Yeah. It's a little south for the range, but it's doing okay. You can see I've got a lot of grape, which is great habitat. When all this bittersweet buckthorn was here, it also provided a nice structural support. So I had a wall of grape, 20 feet high. Going back to one of my goals for scenery, so as I removed that buckthorn, the grape also came down, but I very intentionally leave this border for habitat reasons.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
How
Is
is
that
that
a
explain that?
sassafras?
This is, so they don't produce grapes like the Concord grape. I think it's fox grape, I'm not positive. It ate that one year.
These are all just here. You planted
I haven't planted anything. It's like, I'm a big believer of working with nature.
Yeah.
I know, nature knows a whole lot more than I do. This is black cherry, but you can see that one year I had a beaver going all the way up. There's a stump that it went halfway up the slope to get whatever it wanted there. And then this is my favorite room in the house. So I'm this saved me during COVID. This was my office for 2 years. If it wasn't raining or snowing, I was almost down here all the time.
Nice.
And again, I've got the winterberry. This is sweet pepper bush, which just the pollinators just love.
You have that, right?
It's trying. It's not very happy.
Yeah, looks like a bunch of peppercorns on the end.
Does it take a while to get established? Or?
It's,
It also likes water. I don't have water.
Yeah. I've got another pignut hickory growing right here, which is great. The oak that is at the far end here, that's a white oak, and the beaver tried to tackle that one year, and I was a very, very optimistic beaver, but I did tack a little hardware cloth, just like, you can, black cherry, yes, but no, and it gave up.